What's going on, everyone? A beautiful Friday is among us. Episode 41 of Locker Talk Live. Today is our Pick'em show where we pick some games across the state of Texas, mainly focused on the Houston, San Antonio, Austin, and DFW area. Today, I only have one guest with me. Not really guest, I should say co-host at this point, right? So let's welcome in Shayna at this time. Shayna, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. There are a lot of blowout wins in the DFW area yesterday. Some close wins, though. Forney just barely escaped beating Crandall yesterday. It was 32-30 in overtime, and that was a crazy game. Other than that, I'm ready for the weekend. We have a lot of really good games ahead of us.
Yeah, didn't that one go double or triple overtime, or was it just one overtime? I can't remember.
According to Dallas Morning News, it says one overtime, but I'm not sure.
Regardless, a good game last night, and like you said, Forney barely escapes. And we've got, like you said, we've got some really good games on us. I mean, coming out to the later day, as always, every Friday on our website, presented by Academy, so it is free for everyone to look at, especially that our San Antonio area. When you look at those picks, those are some tough games to pick this week in our weekly Pick'em article. I went back and forth on a few games, especially when it, like I said, when it came to the San Antonio area. So, for those that don't know, every week we release some picks for the Austin, San Antonio area, 5 for Austin, 5 for San Antonio. And me and Will have been going back and forth the last few weeks. This past week, Will took the lead. He's ahead by 1 on me. And I think we have like 4 or 5 that we're picking differently this week. And a lot of it is from the San Antonio area. Lots of tough games in the San Antonio area. Lots of teams are just fighting for stuff. I think one of the biggest games, Alamo Heights versus Floresville, which we'll pick here later on in the show. So definitely, I'm excited for that. So actually, no, we're not picking that one. I'm sorry. But we can. We might just have to. We might just have to as a bonus game, because that one is going to be a big game for a few different reasons. Just as, one, both of them are undefeated. Someone's going down. And 2, can Floresville kind of keep up the momentum they've had? Kind of expected Alamo Heights to be there a little bit, but not so much. Floresville, not necessarily that they're not a bad or a good team, but undefeated at this point in the season. So very big game there. Let's start though with maybe a surprise undefeated team at this point in the season. Buda Johnson taking on San Antonio Veterans Memorial. As we talked about yesterday on the show, this is only Buda Johnson's second varsity season. Last year, barely missing out on the playoffs at 6-4, and they've kind of come out on fire this year. They look great so far as the season goes, undefeated in district at 2-0. If they can get this win, they're well on their way to making their first playoff berth in their program history in their second year. Shayna, how do you see this one going down?
I think Buda Johnson has a really strong quarterback in Medina. He's really strong passing and rushing. And while Veterans Memorial has a strong defense, I don't see them. I don't see them having enough of that oomph to really stop Medina. So I'm going Buda Johnson with this one.
Yeah, this one seems to be. You look at Buda Johnson and what they've done, so far the last 2 seasons. Really built up a fine program. Haven't really gone the Shadow Creek route and made state, and then their first year, that's what Shadow Creek is. They made state their first year, lost, came back second year, won. I don't think they're going to be. I don't know if they're that kind of team of destiny, as Scott would say, but I think Buda Johnson does get the win here to continue their undefeated streak and continue their quest for their first playoff berth as a school. Next up, we have Manor versus Pflugerville. I'm very intrigued about this one, Shayna. Manor last week came back and beat Georgetown in a thriller. Georgetown has lost 4 of their games. I believe it's 4 of their games by 4 points or less. It's 4 or 3 of their games by 4 points or less. So just a little sidebar for you there. Georgetown, you may look at some of these schedules and be like, oh, Georgetown's like a 1-win team. But you look at the games they've lost in heartbreaking fashion each time. And then you have Pflugerville last week, and I'm almost like, is this Pflugerville game last week is a little bit of fool's gold, right? So Manor 2 weeks ago beat Leander thanks to a field goal, which they had to do. They got to do twice because the first time they missed it, but there was a penalty on the defense. I believe it was offsides, so they got to kick it again for the win. And then last week, Pflugerville just goes and puts a beat down is the easiest way to say it on Leander. They won that one 74-28. So you look at like-minded opponents and you say, okay, well, this should be an easy win for Pflugerville, but I don't know. I'm really torn on this one. I think Maynard is a very good team. You look at some of their opponents; they lost a close one to Austin LBJ. That's their only loss of the year. I have my pick, but I'm gonna save it. What do you think on this one, Shayna?
Like you said, Maynard's a very good team, and I don't think we're going to see them stop being a very good team throughout the rest of the regular season. What I think really stands out here is that both defenses are nearly identical. They're both very strong. We're going to see a very heavy defensive game on both sides. But I think where we will see the win come through is I think Pflugerville's offense is going to break through that Maynard defense, and Pflugerville will win.
All right, so now it's me. Do I stick with Maynard? Or are you and Pflugerville to go with Maynard? I think I'm going to go with Maynard on this one. I think I don't know. I've watched them the last few weeks. We do their games on VYPE Live on Flow Sports. So if you want to watch those games, that's where you can check it out. And I've been impressed with their fight. Like I said, ever since their week 1 loss to LBJ, that they've gone on a 4-win streak. And I don't know. I'm not going to buy into the hype of that 74-28 win by Pflugerville just yet. Now, if they win tonight, then let's go Pflugerville. But for now, I'm gonna stick with Maynard. Moving on to the Houston area, Shadow Creek versus Strake Jesuit. I should get Will on this one to tell me what to make of Strake Jesuit. Shadow Creek, as we know, they've lost the first 2 games of the year to North Shore and Bridgeland. So it's not like they've lost to teams that are kind of mediocre. Their 3-2 record is a very good 3-2 record when you look at their 2 losses. And then we have Strake Jesuit. They are 2-3. So they're kind of right there. They have a new coach. So, sometimes there's that kind of delay and things picking up when you have a new coach, because sometimes you got to learn a new system. You got to bond with the players, you got to bond with the coaches, vice versa. Their losses, they're not too bad teams either. They lost to Westfield, they lost to King, they lost to Pearland. So really not bad losses. And then, you look at their wins, and their wins are pretty convincing. So it's almost like they're trying to figure out, and they're almost right there. But I don't know if I can pick against Shadow Creek in this one. I'll go first in this one, and I say I don't think I think Strake Jesuit is starting to figure out. But I think Shadow Creek is just too good of a team for them to put it all together against. I'm going to go to Shadow Creek. Shayna, what say you?
I'm gonna take the table and I'm gonna flip it, because I think, like you said, both teams, their losses have come from very, very good teams. But I think there's just something special about Strake Jesuit's statement wins almost with a new coaching staff. I think we're going to see a strong game from them offensively, and I'm going to go Strake Jesuit on this one.
All right, there you go. A little bit of a shake-up right there for me. Get that off on me because I didn't pick Strake, but a little bit of a shake-up there. I thought you were going to go Shadow Creek for sure. Next up, we have Bridgeland taking on Cypress Ridge. Cypress Ridge, you look at their schedule, I mean, they haven't played anybody, I don't think, of Bridgeland's caliber yet, but they are sitting at 3-1. Bridgeland, of course, at 5-0. What do you think of this one, Shayna?
I want to pick against Bridgeland just so, like, Scott somewhere in California right now, his eye is twitching. But Bridgeland has really proved that they're the real deal, and they're not going to take any prisoners this season. Connor Wegman is extremely competitive, both passing and rushing. And as much as we're going to see a strong offense on both sides of the ball, I don't think Wegman's going to go down this season. I'm picking Bridgeland.
Yeah, this one, I feel like this one could really be their last big challenge of this. Well, they do have Cypress Park coming up, so you know they do have a couple more, but this is one of their last. I would say. I think it looks like I would say this week and next week are the kind of two biggest games remaining for Bridgeland to kind of get ready for the playoffs, if you will, because I feel like after this week or after these next 2 weeks, their competition kind of drops a little bit, and then you have to really get ready for the playoffs. So with that being said, I do think Bridgeland gets the win in this one. I think they are. I think they're going to be a little bit too much for Cypress Falls and or Cypress Ranch, excuse me. And yeah, we'll see what happens. But Bridgeland is going to have to really have two impressive games these next 2 weeks. Like I said, after that, it's kind of getting ready for the playoffs after that. So let's move on to our next game, which is Denton Guyer versus Braswell. Denton Guyer has done nothing but impress this season so far. I mean, they got wins over Denton Ryan, wins over Tascasita, Prosper. So you look at it, they've kind of done it all at this point in the season. Is anyone stopping Denton Guyer, in the regular season, Shayna?
I don't think so. I think Denton Guyer has a whole lot to prove. They had a big win over Denton Ryan, as everybody knows, and I don't think that was like a, hey, we're here and we're gonna play. I think it was a, hey, we're here and we're gonna dominate this season. They want so badly to show that they're the real deal. Braswell's a good team, don't get me wrong. They've been playing really good, but ultimately, I just, Jackson Arnold, he's throwing, he's rushing. I think we're going to see a hungry Denton Guyer that pushes through the entire season, not just tonight, but I'm going Denton Guyer tonight.
Yeah. And the next 2 weeks are really going to be the ones that I think you should pay attention to for Denton Guyer. I mean, they have Allen next week and then Boyd the week after. I mean, we really get to see who Boyd is in 2 weeks. We keep on talking how good is the Boyd team. Came up a little short against Allen. How will they do against Denton Guyer? I agree with you. I think this one is Denton Guyer's win, and then the next 2 weeks after are going to be the ones you really have to pay attention to. So, I'm picking Denton Guyer in this one. Moving on to our final game of the 6 official pick'ems, if you will. We got VR Eaton versus Keller, a battle of 5-1 teams. Shayna, we know Keller lost to South Lake Carroll last week. Do they kind of rebound this week?
Keller's a strong team. I don't think that'll change this entire season. Trey Guerra has thrown for over 1,000 yards and 13 touchdowns. But like I said yesterday, there's a reason that Tyler Fussell rhymes with hustle. He is doing the most for VR Eaton, and they're coming off of a big win over school district rival Byron Nelson. They are running on too much energy to slow down for Keller. I think we're going to see a very great game. Keller is strong. Keller's not to be slept on this season, but ultimately tonight I'm picking Eaton.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to have to agree with you and go Eaton here. I think, yes, they're both 5-1, but I think when you look at how Eaton has played so far this season, they really haven't given me a reason to pick against them in this one. Of course, we know they still have South Lake Carroll on their schedule, so this could be a good tune-up and a good barometer to see where they stand if they want to compete with South Lake Carroll. So definitely a big game for them. Those are our games for, I guess you could call them the 6, if you will. Do you have any other games that you want to talk about, Shayna?
I don't think I do want to talk in depth about any, but I think I gotta go here, and I have to say it's gonna be interesting to see how Rockwall bounces back after this bye week. They're probably definitely wanting to prove that their win over Austin Lake Travis wasn't a fluke. And then other than that, we got to go with the big one of the biggest games in the DFW this week to keep an eye on is definitely Prestonwood and Parrish. The game's probably going to decide who's going to win that district. You have Prestonwood, who definitely wants to compete against the best. They're the number one school in our rankings, in Dallas Morning News rankings. But then you have Parrish. They're back-to-back state champions, and they want that third one.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. That's probably one of the top private school games of the week as well. Although there is one in San Antonio that we should be, and Houston, I guess, Central Catholic taking on Concordia Lutheran. That should be a good one. That's one of our article pick'ems. I think another one that's going to be really good. And again, we talked about it to start the show. Alamo Heights versus Floresville. I think that's a big time game to see where both of those teams stand. Alamo Heights last week won 7-0 against the squad, so their defense is they have a pretty stout defense this year. How is that going to factor against Floresville and their offense? I think you're going to learn a lot from these two teams, depending on the results. So I don't think a loss here will necessarily hurt either team, but I think it's going to tell us a lot about where they stand heading to the final of district and into the playoffs, where I think both teams will be, come the end of the regular season. That's going to do it. It always help. It's always a shorter show when we have less people, of course, but that is okay. Scott is in LA as we know from yesterday, getting ready to be at a wedding, not getting married, just being at a wedding. So, hopefully, but the beaches are closed, so he can't enjoy the beaches, but, maybe gets the, get some cool, the California weather is a little bit better this time of year than the Texas weather is. So he gets to enjoy that. So before we get out of here, just as a reminder, of course, we have to always plug it. Started a week ago today, VYPE Insider. Become a VYPE Insider today. Get some breaking news, premium articles, exclusive coverage, expert analysis, documentaries. I'm saying it wrong. I don't know what's going on with me right there. Sports coverage and more. It is $2.99 a month, or if you pay the yearly amount up front, and it comes out to $199 a month. So there's some savings there if you pay the bulk up front. It comes out to, I believe, $24. So jump on this. It's a great opportunity to become a VYPE Insider, where you can get all kinds of great coverage you won't get anywhere else. Shayna, before we get out of here today, I got to turn it over to you. Take it away. Where can people find you for the DFW area?
We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. On Twitter, you're going to find us at VYPEDFW. On Instagram, there's an underscore, so it's going to be at VYPE_DFW. We have all fresh content every single day, and you're not going to want to miss this week. Not only is it a big week in high school football, we have the Texas OU game tomorrow. Come on, that's a big one. Lots of DFW faces are back, ready to play in front of, everyone that they love. So be sure you're following along.
Yeah, I mean, heck, I am definitely Texas OU all the way. Can't wait for that game. Of course, I am a Texas fan, so I will be rooting for Texas. This is one of those games where I think it's going to say a lot for Texas. I mean, OU hasn't looked the greatest at some points this year, so it's a game you feel like Texas should be able to win, but we shall see. Speaking of great coverage, definitely tune in to our live coverage tonight. We have over 20, I think around 20 games or so. Some great action, some on VYPE, some on Flow. So tune in, some great matchups ahead, including some of the ones we talked about earlier in our pick'ems. We do have Manor and Pflugerville, so that is one I'm going to be keyed in on to watch. If you need to follow us anywhere, for the Houston area, just type in VYPE Houston. I'm sure you'll find something. And then for Austin and San Antonio, VYPE ATX, VYPE SATX. We'll be back. We won't be back with a show tomorrow, but we will have our VYPE Live Plays of the Week coming out tomorrow around noon. And then we will be back on Monday to break everything down. So be sure to tune into that. Whole slew of great football from the high school level to the pros this weekend. Hoping all of my teams win. So, so that might mean some of your teams have to lose, but I'm fine with my teams win. So until then, I'm Wack. This has been Shayna, and this has been Locker Talk Live. We'll see you at the games.